What's happening, weirdos? So glad you are here. I am in a hotel, clearly, which is why this doesn't look amazing, and maybe even doesn't sound amazing. But yeah, here I am. Here I am introducing you to a wonderful episode with Natasha Leggero, one of my favorite comedians of all time, one of my favorite people of all time. And she is amazing in this chat. It's her second time on, and she's here to talk about her new book, The World Deserves My Children, which I read, is incredible, so funny, so good, so honest, so real. And Val, I got home and noticed that she had a copy on her bookshelf as well. So it is awesome. Check it out. And she's also on the World Deserves My Children tour. You can get tickets at natashalegero.com. She's going to be in Providence, Dania, Florida, where I was, Boston, Philly. All of those are coming up very soon. So go see Natasha Leggero on the road. I am also currently on tour, as I am right now. I'm in Pittsburgh right now, followed by Buffalo, New York, Milwaukee, Minneapolis. That's going to be one night in Minneapolis. I hope everybody can be there at the Pantages Theater. And then Denver, coming back to Denver. This is a new hour, guys. I hope you can be there. It's the Feelin' It tour. I'm really proud of it. Hope you can make it. Also, Largo here in Los Angeles on September 5th is the next one. We've got some amazing guests and myself as well. It's going to be a great show. Hope you can be there. Largo-la.com for tickets. All right, everybody. Enjoy Natasha Leggero. Get into it. Okay, we're starting now. But we're still going to talk in this tone. Don't put on some affectation. Just keep talking to me. I wanted to say that no.
I come in here, I am my real self, and now you want...
The affectation?
No, now you want to say everything I said in privacy.
No, we'll use none of that. I was spilling beans, too.
Okay.
You really do look great.
Thank you.
Great look.
Save you.
Save it.
Why? Thank you.
I don't normally. Katie will tell you I'm not about complimenting the guests. It's not like how talk show hosts are supposed to be stop for 5 minutes. So you must really look nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I remember I was on your talk show as well.
You sure were. You've done we've done a lot of things together. You were in the Crashing Writers Room.
I feel like we started comedy together.
That's not true.
Well, I started in 2000.
I like that you just moved.
You did too. I feel like everyone in our
I started in 2000.
Started in 2001.
2001.
Me too. It was 2001.
Me
I
too,
swear to
yeah.
God, I'm not just saying that. But I do feel like everyone in our class kind of started around 2000, 2001.
Well, let me ask you this.
Even though we were all in different places.
Where were you?
LA.
New Orleans?
I was in LA. But Moshe started my husband Moshe, he started in 2001 in San Francisco.
Say Moshe. By the way, in your book, when you're and my husband, I'm like, bitch.
You read my book? The World Deserves My Children?
What a great title.
Thank you.
We could talk for 30 minutes about, I think there should be an award for titles.
Well, the cover won an award. Maybe the title contributed?
Who shot that? It's a great photo.
Her name's Elizabeth Karen, and it was actually
Bleep
shot
that out.
in, pardon?
We're going to bleep her name. I'm not here to big up Elizabeth Karen.
But here's what was funny about it.
Maybe Elizabeth Warren. Okay, you're nice to laugh at that.
This day she came over, it was deep in the pandemic, and it's in my kitchen, and our nanny quit because there was too many people in the house.
Wow.
So
that laugh was golden.
So it did push her over the edge.
Wait, so that's not staged?
No, I mean, no, it's staged, but it's my kitchen. But
I love that you really used your child.
I know. Well, she's kind of in the back. Actually, can I tell you something? So can your daughter read?
A little bit.
Mine can read a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to her being able to read
When you
more.
asked me that, by the way, I was like...
You didn't know?
No, I'm better than Moshe. That's what I learned from reading your book. I love that you're you can have a perfect man and I'm like, that's not a perfect man. If he's getting up, you tell him I said this. Of course, we're recording it. Vaping, eating his own breakfast while a baby's crying.
I mean, there was some learning curves he had to get through.
Yeah, no, Moshe's the king. I love him to death. He's one of my best friends, and I forgive and forget every single thing. But it's just a neuroses. It's a different.
It's the difference between the mother but you're more of an active father who's clocking in more.
I have a lot to say about this, and I'd rather hear what you have to say about it.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I told my daughter that I dedicated the book to her.
Yeah.
And I said, she can't read, so I said, it says to my mother, my children, and my children's children. And she was like, well, what if I don't have a child?
Yeah.
And I said, well, your kids can be your children. And she's like, well, what if I don't have any?
Wait, your
no,
kids?
I'm sorry. I said your
Don't
animals.
worry, sweetheart.
Your animals could be your children.
Okay.
And she's like, what if I don't have animals? And I was like, I don't know, maybe the plants in your yard can be your child. And she goes, my phone will be my child.
Oh, no.
Yeah. How does she know? That's what I'm so like.
I have a guess.
They know. But I'm just saying, I don't give her the phone. I don't give her an iPad. Like, I'm never like, here, look at my phone.
What's your screen time? What's your screen time?
I actually am not.
There's no shame here. It's just you can't help but be on your phone a little bit.
Someone had to explain to me who the Hawk Tui girl is today.
Hawk Tua.
Hawk Tui.
I'm really enjoying your kids can be your kids and the Hawk Tui girl.
But I guess my point is I'm kind of offline.
Me too.
I'm like,
I didn't know who the Hawk Tui. Can we step this out? I have a person that does, Jake, who's amazing, does my socials.
Laura, shout out to my podcast
Bleep
producer.
that.
She
Bleep
helps
it.
me do my
Bleep
social
it.
media. I can't do it.
Do what?
I don't want to put pictures of myself on Instagram.
Yeah. Good
I mean,
for you.
I will and I do, but
You just said.
But I don't want to.
Okay, that's
It's like
good.
going to an audition or something.
I understand. But somebody is running it for you for the most part. Anyway, here's my experience. I want to share two things with you, and I'm going to throw it to you. One, the Hawk Tua girl. What the fuck? What mass hypnosis is the world under that was anything? Like, I had a lot of people explain that to me. They were like, it's her charm. She's charming. She's like drunk. She's got a great drawl. I watched, I was like, this is nothing. That only makes sense if you're eating the internet for 12 hours a day and then that comes through. It's a good relief hitter.
Exactly.
If you're just in reality and consuming, I'm sorry, I'm going to get on a high horse here. But if you're watching good television, good film, reading good books, talking to good people,
I know.
looking at fucking real shit, and someone shows you the Hawk Tour girl, I'm fucking proud that I'm like, this is zero. This is zero. You've been, those old Apple commercials where they're like walking in a dystopian future? Those are the idiots that are like, Hawk Tour girl. Like, they're wearing like gray flour sack onesies. They're all shaved. They have numbers on their eyebrows. Those are the fucking
can't
dinguses.
be everybody, 'cause
No, I know. I'm exaggerating.
Bill Maher.
I'm exaggerating, but that only makes me sad that Bill Maher was like, I don't want to stay engaged with the young people. Give me the Hawk Tour girl.
So
like,
people-
fucking don't. Just be old, Bill. Say it's dumb. Get out.
People love her because
People don't love her.
she said that you spit on a.
When you give a blowjob, I believe. I hate that we're talking about this.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I secretly don't.
Didn't wa-
I secretly don't. I want to like posture that I hate it, but I'm loving it.
I mean, it's no mystery that this has taken the world by storm. I mean, this is
It
where we're
isn't.
at
It is.
culturally.
I hear that.
This is what we are.
But it could have been
and
anything.
Moshe, my husband, is eating the internet, and he's always. I don't understand most of the things that he finds really hilarious online because
You
I'm
and
not
I
on there.
We're having the same conversation. If you're not getting a steady diet of it, I just did After Midnight, and Maria Bamford showed a video of a taper getting its chin scratched, and I was like, this is less than zero. This
Wait,
is
Maria
like
Bamford, she's not on the internet all the time.
you
do
don't think she's scrolling? I'm gonna say it. Yeah, she is. You don't think Bamford's scrolling?
I love
You
her.
think she just happened to find one taper video?
No, but she's always doing her own thing. Like, I took a figure drawing class with Maria Bamford at this place called Wizard of Art, and there was a naked woman in front of us, and we're drawing.
Yes.
And I looked at her page, and she was just drawing her pugs. I'm just saying, she's on her own trip.
She is on her
Like,
own
she
trip.
paid to be in a class.
Look, I glitched because I was thinking of riffs and then I was like, which ones are appropriate? Which ones are, So I stepped out for a second, but that's a great little anecdote. I mean, that's a grand slam anecdote.
Into her is like
That's
a
what
very
I mean.
unique artist.
It's It's an amazing story. Like when she wins the Mark Twain Award, which she should, because she's incredible. You'd
really
say,
is.
Maria's one of a kind. I took a figure, and you tell that story. It's amazing. The second internet story I wanted to tell you, and then I'm really putting it to you, if you're not consuming it on the regs, we are sort of like, I don't know, I'm very proud to be out of the loop, but one of the After Midnight writers showed me a couple clips that she loved. One of which was a woman feeding ducks, and the ducks start attacking her. Have you seen this? Of course we haven't, because we're all just fucking satellites. We used to live on the same moon, and now we're all just satellites in the big black dark. And you don't know what my algorithm's showing me. Anyway, it's a woman feeding ducks, and the ducks start biting her. And she's like, oh no. And I'm like, this is fake. They can't tell. You know what I'm saying. Then she shows me look, I don't even have to.
Waking up every day being like, if I could just get a viral
That's what I'm saying. Even an old lady in Italy, apparently, because she's like, ducks. And then as soon as the ducks start, first of all, she's holding that hand out. She knows these ducks. And she's holding her hand out. The ducks start biting her, and she's like, oh no, and doesn't pull her hand away and keeps filming. Do you know what the fuck is happening?
And who's filming?
She's filming. And she's like, I'll just keep shooting. That's fake. Yeah. And what's troubling to me...
Or it's like her grandson told her to do it and is kind of helping her.
Maybe, yeah. Just keep filming. Those ducks that bite you, keep filming. But it would have been one thing if she was like, I think it's fake, but it's funny. But that wasn't they were like, this is the funniest. She makes the funniest sound. I was like, this is clearly fake. Then they were like, let me show you my other favorite one. And this dude, he goes, can you chug a whole LaCroix and not burp? And he chugs it. And then he spits them up in the fakest spit up that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, you know when you're like, oh, I can't keep it in my mouth. Really? You can't chug one can of LaCroix? And then he goes, what do you do? And he turns, hits his head on a garage door. Why did you turn? So he turns and bong, and then he falls down. It's like Kramer.
And the After Midnight people told you these were two of their favorite videos.
They were like, this is why you should be on TikTok was the sell. And they go, look at this. And I go, this is also fake. So what's happening is like, we're post-truth. Even our post-truth is post-truth. Like nothing is... It's beyond the pale.
I tried to do TikTok and I got on and then I watched this video like 9 times because I couldn't figure out what was happening. And this girl was putting on a fake butt. And then I was like, well, now I've already watched this too many times. This is going to be my algorithm. So I never went back.
I worry about that too.
Because I was like, I watched this too many times.
Yeah.
Now it's pure garbage.
God help you if you accidentally click an ad.
But why was that?
God help you.
I know. I mean, it's just like, I just am very saddened by the whole thing. And my mission in life, to the point where I almost want to stop my career, is to keep my child engaged and entertained and offline. Yeah. You know, like however I can try to do that, like being present and not just like being on my phone.
Yeah.
But also I fail too, but I try to at least have her not see me. Like I almost kind of try to sneak it in the other room. So she doesn't think she lives with 2 people who are always staring at their phones.
Yes.
Because there's definitely
like
one person.
Like horses with feed bags on their face. You know what I mean? As soon as you go away, you're like...
That's what I'm doing.
There's oats all over your face. What's that? I'm just living in the same reality you are.
Oh my God. How did you encapsulate that?
Because that's my life too. But I was just going to say, I keep my screen minimal and I'm proud of that. There's a lot of effort in that. And still, just like I hate people texting. Stop it. Stop texting me. You're all jacked up on some energy drink and you're firing off texts.
Oh, you don't even want people texting you?
No.
Oh, I like that for sure.
No.
They're your friends.
Nah, fucking beat it.
What do you want?
What's up, man? Fucking scram is what's up. That's what's up.
What do you want? How do you want to engage with your friends?
Do you want to engage with your friends, JK? I just let me say it more real because I am exaggerating. I don't like looking at my phone and seeing that there's 15 texts. Val feels this way all the time. I see her ripping through replies, and it's like a little job we have. It's the same thing with Netflix. Have you seen Baby Reindeer? What do I work for Netflix? What do I got to sit in a screening room like a 1970s executive and smoke cigars and just show me the new season? Like I can't keep up with all
But
this
there
shit.
is so much stuff that if 5 people tell you to watch something, then maybe you would watch it.
Maybe. I'm just saying it's hard to keep up. And I know you relate because I go to the bathroom to do my texts and I'll take like a 10-minute sit pee. I'm sitting to pee just so I can rip through some text.
So your daughter doesn't see you.
But
like
she
just...
always comes in. She always comes in.
Well, you know what my kid's doing now?
By the way, this is only post-kids. Pre-kids.
Oh, yeah,
This
I don't
is
give
so
a
on
shit.
Pre-kids, of course I love to text.
I'll zone out for hours.
And God help you if you send me an audio message.
I know.
And you see
people
that
do
it's
I've
3 minutes
never
and
sent
4
one.
seconds. I've never sent one either. And you'd think they'd get the message when you keep replying to their fucking epic poems with a text.
Oh, only certain people do that. It's a personality type.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
It's invasive. Here, let me be your whole reality for 3 minutes.
Wait,
The balls.
you're so right. It's very much like listen to me.
Listen to this.
You can't do this while doing anything else. Give me your full engagement now.
You know what I liked about talking
it's
on
like
the phone?
famous people kind of too. Or
It
people,
is.
people who think of them like who are very self-involved.
I'm going to orate to you.
Yes.
It's like stand up in text form. It's just me talk.
Wait, I have to tell you though, what my daughter started doing now is
You don't say your daughter's name, do you?
no, I'd rather not.
Can I give a clue?
No. No, that's like the opposite of what I want. I'm just trying to protect her in some way because she already is saying like, Mom, don't say anything I say to you on stage or to friends.
Wait,
so
she's only a little bit older than Leela, right?
but she's just very like she's really concerned. Like she said, Mom, I really want to be popular next year. Like
She's 6?
She's 6. She just seems a little like a 7th grader or something.
Yeah, that I actually
Socially.
I think this is cool.
But-
There's
but-
no concern here. I'm like, wow,
Yeah, like
That's
she's
like-
just very tuned into social dynamics.
3-dimensional chess.
But also, it's not like she can read yet or anything like that. It's just the social aspect of things. But now since she knows, like I don't really let her on my phone. She's like, Mom, can you look up? Can you just use your phone? And she uses me as the internet. She's like, can you Google what the biggest ice cream cone ever was? Like she always wants to Google something that she's thought of, like the biggest something.
Camera pans Moshe's in his underwear vaping. Huge plumes of vape. He's on an iPad.
Well, he's not vaping anymore. Now he has these disgusting pods that he stores like a chipmunk
I
in
talked
his.
to Moshe about him.
They're so disgusting.
Are you
and
off
then,
the nick? I'm off the nick.
Yeah, I was chewing the gum. Oh, do you don't have any? Do you have any
You
gum?
wanted some? I'm sure there's some in the studio. There's definitely some on
I
that.
was having to order it.
You want some? There's definitely an old piece of gum.
I told you it was like getting caught in my dog's fur. It was like because we would always be taking the gum out.
Oh, they would eat it.
They would like get stuck in it. Nicorette, not good.
Well, that's one of the reasons I didn't want Leela to know her dad was beholden to something. It was like an ego quit. I didn't want, first of all, I don't
Really?
want to be beholden to something. You know, now I've been off nicotine for, I don't know, since March. So what is it? July? So that's a long time. And what I love about it, you'll get it right away. When I'm leaving the house, I go phone, wallet, leave. Instead of phone, wallet, how many pieces do I have? And like, how many do I think
Right.
I'm going to want today?
Do you feel like you have an addictive personality?
Yes, absolutely. And E2 Brutus?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Brute.
I don't know. I feel bad that I kind of need vice in my life. You don't want any vice?
Yeah, look, I'm going to sound like a 90s Dare commercial. I like having vices, but you don't have nicotine. Nicotine's got you. It does, right? It's got you.
I could kind of moonlight and like have a little
love
here
that.
and
That's
there.
not me.
Right.
That's why I hate these guys. No, I don't hate these guys, but the neuroscientists that are kind of like, nicotine's good. It's good for productivity. They're all like, just keep it under 6 milligrams a day. I'm like, by the end of Moshe, by the way, those pouches are probably 6 each. And he told me he's putting like 2 in his mouth. That's what it does.
So he's on like 50 grams of nicotine a day, probably.
Great. I mean, that's not that bad. I bet he's more than that.
How many were you on?
Oh, once I went to the pouches are like, it's like
They're so disgusting. I feel
licking
like
a car battery. They
Yeah.
are disgusting. They make you nauseous immediately, but they jack you up. And I was definitely doing at least 10 of the, more than that, probably 15 of those. So that's way more than 60 milligrams.
They should let you drink it or something.
That's the problem?
Well, I want to have the jolt.
Yeah.
Also, why does your daughter need to know about that? The patches, they're so...
She already was noticing. Look, that's not the main reason, but I didn't want Leela to know that I was just like, there's something about it. It makes me feel like a rat in a cage that like has to keep pushing a button.
I know, you're right.
I'm like, and when I don't have it, let's put it, here's another funny way to put it. I don't need another reason to be in a bad mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't have my gum. I can't find it.
Someone texted me. My friend texted me.
My friend?
Is that what really gets you? What's wrong with you? You don't want to text your friends back?
When are we to do these things? You know this is what your book is about. Your wonderful book, The World is Deserving of My Children.
No, it's called The World Deserves My Children.
The world is You type in I knew
It's not that hard.
I knew that, by the way.
You were saying what a great title it was.
It was a comedy routine. And also, you type in The World is Deserving of My Children, it definitely would come up. Nice move.
Possibly.
Nice flex. Good for you.
I'm very proud of my book.
Good for you.
Actually, Pete, you would like the opening of my book is all about my...
I know.
Oh, yes, it's all about...
The party I was at.
My Trump party, or my election party.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, do you think that we should have another election party? Because...
To cleanse the palate.
But then also we've already been there and we've already been traumatized by another Trump presidency. Trumpetized. So we had this party in my pool and no one thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
We were definitely
I was in this house
in the bubble.
And I got up to pee at like 1 a.m. and like refreshed the map page and was like,
Oh, you didn't know?
I left early. I left your party, but I think a lot of no offense to you as a host, but it got depressing.
It got depressing.
So we're in Natasha's pool watching the election.
We knew as soon as he won Michigan, because I went to my most famous, or not my most famous, my most politically informed
Bill
friend.
Maher. Hug to a girl. She's here. What's your take on Gaza?
I'm going to show you the video.
I can't handle that he had her on. That's like a lawyer chasing an ambulance. That's what that is. There's a trend. Like that.
Well, it was also
sucks.
his podcast where he gets
worse.
high.
Sucks worse.
Right.
Sucks worse. Because that's your frontier. I booked you. If it was on real time, I'd be like, maybe there was some pressure. He was like, I'll talk to her. Why? Hot take.
Well, anyway,
You don't want to shots fire against Bill Maher.
Trump
You're trying to get on real time.
won. No, I would not want to get on real time because I don't feel informed enough.
Yeah,
I mean, if he wanted to talk about something that I really care about, like I would love to ban social media for high school up until your high school. You know, like that's something that I care about. But anyway, I could be more informed. But as soon as I asked my friend at the party, he's like, if Trump wins Michigan, he wins.
Who'd you ask?
My friend Ethan Gold, because he's just like really smart, politically savvy.
The other Elon Gold.
No, he's not related to Elon Gold. But yeah, and then when that happened, things got weird and like people started crying.
Oh, really?
And Moshe and I got into a huge fight. It was like popping balloons that were like celebrating everything. It was just like
the detail in your book of packing up the party poppers and the noisemakers is really sad.
But then I was like, you know what? It made me think I'm not going to have a kid. Like I can't be in a world where this person is the president, you know, like just the way he talked about women. I just didn't think that would be a possibility to talk about women in that kind of way and still be able to be like the highest person in charge and in our country. So I don't know. It was just like really kind of traumatizing for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, hope you like the book. And it just got re-released on paperback.
No, Natasha,
because it was a critical success.
You did have a child.
I had a child right after.
Yeah. So what changed?
You know, I was able to have one because I had frozen it's all about my egg journey, this book, and I had frozen my eggs, and I think I had 8, and then Moshe jizzed on them and they became 4.
We need to book that guy that jizzed all over those eggs. Get the guy that jizzed on Natasha's frozen eggs.
She did not disappoint, though. I mean, she was definitely just like, huh? He was like asking her about the moon landing, and she was just like, what? Huh? I don't know.
What are the
I never think
chances
about
that a woman that volunteered for an internet interview on the streets at 1 a.m. wasn't paying out in a show business way? This is... I can't handle this.
It was cute in a very apocalyptic way.
Yeah, well, that's what came to mind is Idiocracy. I'm sure you've heard the Idiocracy argument.
What is it? I mean, I loved that movie when it came out.
Well, just that you're like, I won't have a kid because the world is getting crazy.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, well, you should. I mean, that's one argument to say you should have a kid because, you know, you might be grotesquely outnumbered.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of what the book is about too. Like in other cultures, people have kids not for this generation, but for like 5 generations in the future.
Yeah.
So I think that after a lot of struggling, and then it actually did happen, I was able to. One of the embryos worked, and that's my daughter. So I was just really happy about that.
What's her name again?
Yeah.
So it's a message of hope and for other people. Because it is funny, like, there's a line.
It's a comedy book.
No, I understand.
But
no, I've read it. It's very funny. You're a great writer.
Thank you.
And I love the way you read it. I listened to it.
You did?
Yeah.
On the way here, you listened to a half hour of it?
You think my commute is a half hour? You know where I live.
Oh, yeah.
I ripped into, I feel like, a good half of it.
It's not that long.
That's what I'm saying.
Like Moshe has a new book out and it's like 3 times the length of mine. And he's always like, oh, you haven't finished my book yet. Because he'll say something and I'm like, huh? He's like, it's in my book. But it's just like really long.
How can Moshe have a bowl of Fruity Pebbles while the baby is crying? Did you know, Val told me there's a study. Have you noticed this trend?
It has to do with self-love. Yes.
You think he loves himself more?
I think he was very loved. No?
I think you might be onto something. I don't know, though. I can't hear my baby crying and digest food at the same time.
Well, that's something he tells me. He's like, you just need to get over her crying.
It's a really...
Hot take.
Like, do you plug him in at night?
Like is teen dad?
Is it what?
It's like teen dad. Like a dad on 16 and Pregnant. Like one of those teenage boys.
You just got to get over it. Like one of the reasons why parenting is so annoying is that my daughter's cry goes straight to my nervous system.
Well, not all people are like that.
Yeah, like Moshe.
That's more of like a mother's thing.
Well, this is the study I was going to tell you.
Yes, Val was telling you said.
That when it comes to like dopamine, I believe it's dopamine, women, mothers who nurture their daughters. Nurture.
Oh, okay.
Just like cuddle with them, snuggle, whatever it might be. They both get a huge dopamine spike. And dads that play with their kids, they get a bigger dopamine spike than flipping it.
Then dad's cuddling?
Dad's cuddling, lower dopamine for both of them. Mom's playing, lower dopamine for both of them. And this is the B side of this question is, have you noticed as a parent, there's just like a lot more gender, like normative, like people are like talking more. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. There's just more of like we have boys. They're fucking insane. You know what I mean? Like that.
But simultaneously, we're trying to be more fluid.
That's what I mean. Except when the parents are at the playground, there's a lot. It's like 1951 in those conversations a lot of the time where they're like, we have a boy. You know what the fuck that is? Because they mean the boys are
annoying,
crazy.
Yeah.
And when Leela plays with a boy, by the way, I'm not taking a side here. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm just saying, like, if Leela's playing with a boy and she comes and there's like an arrow in her head, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty normal.
They do seem pretty wild.
Boys seem insane to me.
But I'm sure that at some point we're going to regret having girls. I just don't know.
It's just later.
It's just later.
We're the people that we won the lottery and we got like a installment plan. People that get boys get the lump. Get
right,
the lump
because
sum.
it's really hard at the beginning.
Let's get it all out at top. And then I have actually heard that the boys, see again, this is gender normative, and I'm acknowledging that. But I've heard a lot of my friends who have assigned male at birth children say that later they chill out and they become the like low maintenance.
Well, none of us can save our kids from seeing, double on the playground now because all the kids have phones, and now our kids. Well, that's just what I'm thinking is gonna happen. Our principal at our school was like, the 6th graders are showing the little kids porn. on the playground, in the public school. Like they don't, and this is what I don't understand. They take the kids' stuffies away from them, but they let them have their phones because I think a lot of the parents are divorced. And so the parents are like, I need to be able to get in touch with my kid. And then I'm like, I've even asked the principal, I'm like, well, why are the kids allowed to get online? Because they break into the firewall. Like there is a firewall protecting it in the playground, but the kids know how to break into it. So they're just sitting in the back of the room playing video games and then on the playground. She's like, well, they're not really supposed to look at their phones unless another teacher's present. But it's like, hello, like, of course they are. They're like in the corner.
Portal to everything.
I know. And so I'm just like scared for like my kid, like what they're gonna be exposed to.
Yeah,
so
I hate what you just told me. Look at my face. I hate it.
I'm sorry.
There's like no part of me that's like, this is a fun interview. No,
I'm
is.
sorry.
It
I'm
is.
sorry.
No. In that moment,
I'll talk about this on Bill Maher.
But wonderful. Next up is the guy. They're climbing in your windows, snatching your people up. That guy, remember him? He's going to come in and weigh in on the election. What a fucking dystopian universe we're living in.
I know.
But
well,
also,
it's part of the world.
What?
Isn't this what you're trying to make sense of on your podcast and with
just
with
all the
your
noise,
spirituality, and with life, and like, don't you want people to listen to this and try to process things?
One of the things I found challenging about your book was that it starts, and I say this I think it's wonderful. It starts with like the world's so crazy. Why should we have kids? And I'm like,
You never thought about it. You were just like,
well, I think it's interesting.
Here's my seed, kind of thing. And then Val did a little hawk tui.
Oh God.
And then, wait,
it's
hawk tui.
Tua, by the way. You can't say
No,
it
I've
right.
changed it.
You're changing it to you're rebranding it.
I'm gonna write a song. No.
Oh God, somebody's auto-tuned her for sure. The
So-
clip isn't long enough.
So you felt bad that when you listened to my audiobook, I was like stressing you out about all the reasons to not have a child. Well, there are so many reasons. I mean, and there's a whole movements of people who, don't want to have kids and think it's actually bad for the world to bring kids into it. And probably our kids are going to be pissed. They're going to be like, wait, so you guys just use like plastic water bottles and then you thought those were recyclable, but you also knew they weren't recyclable, but you would just use like 6 plastic water bottles a day. Like,
right.
I don't know, like they're just going to be confused as to like what our deal is.
Do you spend a lot of your time being confused at what our parents' generation was doing?
No, but I'm not going to be living during coastal change. Like, I'm not going to be living when like refugees are like coming to like from all the corners of the world to like take, to share the resources and mass destruction and water wars. I don't know. Don't you think it's going to get bad?
I think every generation, look, I'm not an expert. I'm like you going on real time. But I really do think that there's like, it's hard to talk about this because I want to have respect for that, and I think we should be.
You want to have respect for what?
That perspective, and we should be acting as if that's going to happen and making.
You think maybe
changes.
there's not that the scientists are wrong and there won't be like parts are going to go under, like parts of the country, parts of the world.
This is the first. That's the first I've heard of that. That's what you meant.
That there'll be coastal change. That like Florida is going to go underwater a little bit in like 50 years. No, maybe I'm wrong.
I think we have different algorithms, probably.
My algorithm is just like
it's a little gloom and doom. You should not tune into this podcast to decide what to do in terms of environmental change, but I do, as a general philosophy, I'm like. We will figure it out. There's going to be a way.
Oh, I didn't know this about you.
And you sell a lot more clicks and stuff by being like, these people think Florida's going to be underwater. That's a way more compelling story.
Wait, well, that's very interesting. I like being, I like a positive outlook.
Well, you can, if you want, and I have, you can Google the Times. Look, I don't think this should justify bad behavior, but you can look at the predictions of science from the past and where they were wrong. And there was one that was like by 2018 we won't have any fish, and it's like, well, that one's not real.
But I mean,
by the way, this sort of information can so easily be manipulated and weaponized, and that's not what I'm trying to do.
I understand that, but some things that are also bad are like all the billionaires, like the amount of billionaires that we have to watch these billionaires compete to be the first trillionaire. Like stuff like that's never happened. So the corruption at least is like being ramped up. So that's what I worry about, and that's what I worried about in having a child. But you know what? I'm like exactly like the horse thing, like I try to be so positive with her, and I'm like, she's this angel and life is amazing, and it's almost like they're a drug or something, because they're, when
the kid is a drug?
Well, in a way, because like when you're around them, it's like joy and like, they're so funny and cute, but they're saying amazing things.
And I think there might be some wisdom to that, meaning greater than us. Like, we might be having kids for completely the wrong reason. Like,
I hope that I'm also like showing her a good way to be in the world.
Speaking of which, that is to show all my cards. That's what I'm doing, way more than having my own opinion. I'm just sort of doing what my dad did, which was always like, it's okay, don't worry. Just like these things have a way of working out. And whether, I know there are people probably screaming at their radios being like, wake up, sheeple. And I get that. But it takes all kinds.
Well, that's
we can't all be freaking out.
Pardon the interruption, weirdos. This episode is brought to us by our friends at The Perfect Jean, and that is the perfect name for these pants because they are the perfect jean. They are like the unicorn of jeans. I wear them. I'm wearing them right now. You know why I'm wearing them right now, guys? Because I'm always wearing them. They're so comfortable, I forget I'm wearing pants, and they look incredible, and they're incredibly durable, made with very, very, very high standards, and they got just a little bit of stretch. So picture this, 700,000 pairs of nuts have been rescued. That's 2 per dude, and the hero is the perfect jean. Say goodbye to stiff cardboard denim and say hello to comfort. These jeans feel like they were custom made with stretch you would not believe, and they look fantastic. The fabric is as soft as a baby's butt, and no babies were involved, I promise, and they are durable enough to survive her pulling them down daily. Yep, I'm reading an ad. But they can survive being pulled down daily. You know what I mean? I'm going to stop reading this ad. I'm going to tell you that I am obsessed with the perfect jean. I did a complete closet overhaul because they have just a little bit of fabric in it that's stretchy, so your nuts are not crushed, but you don't sacrifice that look. I've worn them on red carpets. I've worn them on stage. I'm going to wear them on stage tonight here in Pittsburgh. So you will look great and feel great. And they come in a range of sizes with 6 fits from skinny to thick, waist from 26 to 50 and lengths 26 to 38. They got the jeans for you. So it's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans. And by going to theperfectjean.nyc, our listeners get 15% off your first order plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the promo code BABYBUNS15. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with BABYBUNS15 as the promo code. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about us. Please tell them it was from this show. Fuck your khakis and get the perfect jean. We're also brought to you by our friends at ARMRA. You guys know I'm obsessed with ways to strengthen my immunity and gut health, as well as my fitness, my endurance, my metabolism, as well as my hair and my skin radiance. And I recently discovered a product that does all of those things, and it couldn't be easier. It's ARMRA Colostrum. It keeps coming up. What is it? Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life and contains all of the essential nutrients our bodies need to thrive. I'm talking about reactivating hair growth and glowing skin by reducing inflammation. I'm talking about igniting your metabolism and fortifying gut health so you feel less bloated. That is a huge game change for me. Makes my stomach feel so much better, and I run so much cleaner and lighter, as well as fueling your fitness, performance, and recovery. ARMRA Colostrum is a proprietary concentrate of bovine colostrum that harnesses over 400 living bioactive nutrients that rebuild the barriers of your body and fuel cellular health for a host of research-backed health benefits. It's wholly natural, sustainable, and was developed with the highest
highest integrity using grass-fed cows in the U.S., and they guarantee the highest potency and bioavailability of any colostrum on the market for results you can see and actually feel. And both Val and I swear by it. It's part of our daily routine. We've worked out a special offer for weirdos. Receive 15% off your first order by going to tryarmra.com/weird or enter weird at checkout to get 15% off your first order. That's tryarmra.com/weird. It's an absolute game changer. Support your body, support the show.
I was just in Europe with my kid for 3 weeks. We just got back yesterday. And it's literally like, I probably told her to stop climbing on a ruin like every 5 seconds. I'm just like, get down, please stop walking like that, please get off of like climbing up, like, you know, in France, like, or, you know, like nice buildings. Like she wants to, like, she's like, but I like to climb. I'm like, right, but not when we're walking down the street. And like when you're on a walking kind of vacation, it's like, it was just like a lot of repeating and repeating. We went to Nice and we went to Cinque Terre in Italy, and then we went to Sicily, and then we went to my favorite place, which was Austria. I was able to talk my husband out of visiting Hitler's vacation home in Vienna. But I guess
Hitler went on vacation?
Well, Hitler had a country house in Vienna. So we went to Vienna, which is amazing. And I'm like, wait, this city is like perfect.
I'm having a hard time with a vacationing Hitler. I got to be real with you.
Well, I mean,
him in shorts, those little Nazi shorts.
We were kind of piggybacking on someone else's vacation. So they were like, we also want to end the vacation in Vienna and Salzburg. And I was like, okay, well, I've never been to any of those places. Don't know anything about them really. And when we got there, I'm like, wow, this is like a utopia. Like Vienna is like a large city, but like every single bit of it is like, you know, like the nicest street on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. And then like castles everywhere and fountains, and all the public spaces look like private spaces. And it's just like this beautiful, and you bike everywhere. And then I remember it was where the Nazis started. So it was, you know, because I was like, wait, there's got to be something wrong with this place. Because it really does feel like this utopia. Oh, there's no construction. You know, like you go to San Francisco or you go to New York or any city, and it's just like construction everywhere.
Yeah.
They're bulldozing, and it's just like a bummer. And I don't think they can have construction there because it's like all old palaces. So it's like, but it's very modern. I don't know. I just really loved it. And then Salzburg, we went on a Sound of Music tour, a biking tour. So you go to all the places where Sound of Music took place. It was really fun.
Wait.
It was so cute.
Not like, doesn't most of the Sound of Music take place in that, like a mansion? Like
but you go to the place.
You go to that mansion?
Go to the outdoor place where she sings the iconic.
I mean, do they close with that? Where in the tour is that?
Well, it was so funny because the tour guide was this like such a cute guy. I have to shout out. I think they're called like Fraulein Maria tours if anyone's going to Salzburg. But he was like, he was like this gay guy, and he just like loves Julie Andrews. He goes, this is my penance I pay to Julie Andrews. I come here 4 months out of the year and give these tours. But then he was playing the whole soundtrack to The Hills Are Alive to the whole soundtrack to The Sound of Music, like every single song on his like speaker. And he's making each of us carry the speaker in our baskets of our bike, but it's so embarrassing because it's like blaring, like, you know, I am 16 going on 17, and you're like biking through Salzburg, and the locals are like staring at you, and Moshe's like, get this out of my bicycle.
Wait, did you all have a speaker?
Well, he kept making, like, it was each person's turn. So when it was my turn, I was kind of embarrassed because it's like blaring, and it's like, you know, you're biking and there's like it's a public park. But then the guy told us that most of the Austrians, they don't even know about this musical. It's like an American musical.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, they just thought we were having a good time in their gorgeous city. Definitely going to be going there when the apocalypse happens that you don't know about.
Oh my God.
But Vienna was amazing. Oh, but yes, I just had to keep. It's just, do you do that with your kid? Like, it's crazy how much you just have to repeat things in a good mood. Like, nope, I told you, please don't hang on the door. Don't hang on that. No, don't climb up that.
Yeah.
You just have to like keep repeating things. And like watching her in Europe too. Like, you know, I'm kind of like worried for her safety a little bit. So I don't know these streets. So it's like, it just puts this other level on everything that's like not exactly.
Yes, I wanted like your
Relaxed.
book is one of the reasons why your book is so like important. It's like you open with these wonderful quotes about how women are like livestock from like the turn of the century, like these horrible
someone
perspectives.
else.
Yeah, not you, not you. Quotes like someone wrote a book at the turn of the century, and there's been such a history. Like Jessie Klein. Did you read Jessie Klein's book?
No, but I love her writing.
You got to read her book about parenting. I'm blanking on what it's called, but it's unbelievable. But it's really in the same way that your book is super essential and healing to
Should
have.
people just get hers instead?
Yeah, probably. It's one of these like if you read
Well, you can't
one
remember
book,
the name of it, so. Wait, but tell me what.
I think you should leave.
I bet that's not it. That would be funny though.
Katie's on it.
A parenting book.
Katie's on it.
Well, she is an excellent writer, but I have to say, I'm also a really good writer.
I'll show myself out as the one.
Okay, like it, love it.
Yeah.
Great title. She's very funny.
Yeah.
But what were you saying?
Just that a new, like the modern woman speaking honestly about parenting and how difficult it is very, it's closing a gap, it's closing a circle. You know what I mean? There was all this like silence and quiet and just suffering and taking it on the chin and like these books that are going like, this is really, really hard and really, really, the expectation put on you specifically is really, really hard.
Yeah, and especially when you're doing it later, you know, you're doing it like, well, not everyone. You're doing it later. Val's not as old as me. So, I mean, I kind of didn't have a lot of options for, you know, I froze my eggs and I'm glad I did that when I was 38, but I was kind of doing it like with joie de vivre. I was just like, well, maybe I'll need these at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that I did that because at the time I didn't really want to have a baby. But then it's like, that's the last time you physically can have one is when you're like, wait, I'm not ready yet. Mm-hmm. So it is weird that this like, there's like this 10-year jump almost with a lot of people I know. So then you're having it's just, you know, women, I think there's going to be a lot of reckonings for women.
And being honest about it. I not even in the 80s, I feel like it was impolite. If you'd written a book like this, people would be like, loudmouth Natasha Leggero. Feeling a little too sassy and not knowing her place. Natasha Leggero is blasted into the scene with an inappropriate.
It's so true. It's
right?
so true.
Yeah, but it's really helpful. I think because parenting, well, you tell me, it can be really lonely when you're going like, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And I feel like unsafe to share that and a little bit isolated, like maybe I'm doing it wrong or maybe I'm an idiot or something.
Well, honestly, part of me getting off social media was my algorithm was only people telling me I was doing it wrong. You know, like millennial doctors being like, you don't ever say this to your child. Like she'd be like 10 things to never say to your child.
Yeah.
And it's like all things I say all the time. Never say be careful. That'll give them a complex. You have, you know, never say good job. Always say you worked really hard on that.
I know.
And like now my daughter, I'll be like, you worked really hard on that. She's like, no, I didn't. Like she's kind of like on to me, and I'm like, wait, why am I talking to her like this?
By the way,
like,
this is just
I hate it.
These are just the freshest guesses.
I know,
You
and
know
it's
what I
like we
mean?
don't know what this generation has grown up is going to
course.
grow up to.
It's LASIK.
Yeah, is LASIK going to have some like bad?
We don't know.
Yeah,
This is what I'm saying is this kind of goes back to my view about like coastal sinking and all that sort of stuff. Is in 10 years we're going to be worried about something else. And in 10 years, we're going to be telling the parents that they did something fucking insane that they definitely should have done, that did irrevocable damage to all these children. And that's why this generation is this way. It's inevitable. Like there's
I
just
can't
like
believe
an
you
inevitable...
don't think that AI with the billionaires within the environment is not going to like be so bad in like 2 years.
You think 2 years?
I think the world is going to be ending very soon. I also did predict Trump's presidency.
You did?
Yeah, I had it.
Then why do you have that party?
Well, I did a joke about it on my first CD, Coke Money, and I was like, you know, soon There's going to be reality star shows. There's Trump's going to be I'm just saying.
Really?
It was like that kind of thing. I wasn't like, I am Nostradamus. I'm just saying like.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's like something you hear in hip hop, and you did that. That's so cool.
Sarah Palin has said that she is planning on running for president in 2012, and Donald Trump is planning on running for president. They're going to turn the presidency into a reality show. Tonight on the presidency, who will be eliminated, Iran or North Korea? Text 2457 to cast your vote.
Like usually they're like, this Tupac lyric predicted Great British Bake Off. It's like, how did he know?
I actually am really cool, Pete. Thank you for saying
you are very
it.
cool.
I had the first podcast, too.
What do you mean?
I had the first podcast with Duncan.
That was the first one?
I think so. I remember Chris Hardwick came over and he was like, wait, what is this? You just like...
I love that you jump. If Chris Hardwick didn't know,
I'm just
it was
saying,
probably the
every
first
single,
podcast.
It was like 2008 or something, and every single comedian who came
Natasha.
over, the next day they started a podcast. Okay, I had one of the first comedian podcasts. I did. Why do you think this is funny?
Because you said I had the first podcast.
I did actually.
You didn't.
Okay, who had a podcast? You know who had one?
Maron?
Laura Swisher. No, it was before Mark
Jimmy
Maron.
Pardo?
No, this...
Yeah, took two to get you.
All
Took
right.
2 tries.
It was definitely the first year of podcasting. I'm just telling you. Why do you think that's so funny? You probably came on our podcast and then started one.
Accusation.
Not the podcast I do with Moshe. It was a podcast called The Lavender Hour
Yeah,
that
I
I did
do.
with Duncan Trussell.
Yeah.
And I believe it was before podcasts were a thing. I'm sure someone had one. I remember this girl, Laura Swisher, had a podcast, but it was like you'd go to this studio that was like, it was like a TV studio. I don't know. But you can laugh at me all you want.
I was enjoying laughing at you.
Wait, but
But you are cool. We were talking about how you're cool.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just trying to
And then
make you say it.
Everybody, tell me about the decision. I don't want to be morning radio, but I haven't talked to you about you doing the Bert Kreischer thing. Would you talk about?
Oh.
Because that was very cool.
I have to say, so I basically took my shirt off after I followed him at the Improv. And it's funny because it was like a month where I was like, I'm not going to drink. I wasn't drinking. So I think I was like bored or something. And I was like doing a lot of shows, you know. So
Chasing something, some feeling.
So I had like 2 shows that night at the Improv. And then I went up and I was like, I thought I was being pretty funny. And like the crowd kind of sucked. And I'm like,
Oh, you didn't come out topless?
no, because I was on 2 shows that night. And Bert, I was following Bert on both shows.
Oh, okay.
So I did the first show because a lot of times you'll do 2 shows. So I was on Skylar Stone's like 7:30 show and like his 10:30 show. So I did the first show and I was like, God, this crowd sucks. And I was like, oh, Bert just went up and like destroyed, taking off his shirt, you know, doing his thing. And so then the second one, and I was like, I should just do that. And then I looked at my outfit and I happened to have on like I just had a good outfit for it because I had like a turtleneck and overalls and no bra. So I was like, and a fur coat. So I was like, all I'd have to do is pull down my overalls and take off my shirt, and my tits would be out, you know. And my small tits age well. Like they're good, like small boobs, you know. Like it's not like I had because Tiffany Haddish went up after me and she was like, your nipples are fake. Why are your nipples so small? Like she was saying, I don't know. I don't look at a lot of women's boobs, but I knew that mine looked good.
She roasted your boobs?
She roasted. No, she was just like, how are your nipples so
Specifically the
small?
nipple.
Well, a lot of times when you like, you know, give birth, like your boobs don't look the same. Anyway.
Yeah, after you have a baby, yeah.
I was not worried about any. Like I was like, who cares? So I did it. Oh, so I went to the DJ. I go, so I saw that I asked Skylar, I said, can I go right after Bert on the second show? And he's like, yeah. So then I went to the DJ and I said, can you play the same music you play for Bert when he goes up? Because he has like striptease music, like some kind of like song. I don't even know what it is.
And he takes his shirt off
He
to
takes
that
his
song?
shirt off the second he gets up. He takes it off in a very particular way. So I just reenacted the whole thing. And what I was not prepared for was looking out and everyone had their phones up. So I was like, oh, this is not what I wanted. Was to like be recorded by every horny dude at the Improv.
Yeah.
And then
There was a time when you would have like there was a social code.
Right.
You
it
know
was
what I
just
mean?
like,
You would be like, well, I would clearly, if this was a consequence-free environment, I'd take a picture right now. But like, I don't want to look like an absolute monster.
Right,
but everyone.
and everyone already has their phones out because that's how you order food at the Improv with a freaking QR code. So it's like they already have their phones out when you're doing your stand-up.
You know what QR stands for? Quietly ruining the show.
I agree, darling. So I did it, and then the Improv the next day they called me and they're like, just so you know, that cannot go up. You can't put that up if you have recording of it. And I'm like, why? And I go, they're like, we don't have a license for that. Women. And I said, well, Bert does it every night. And they're like, well, women can't. You'd need a different license for women to be able to show their tits than. I mean, they were very nice about it.
There's a different license.
Yes, because it's like a strip club license or something. If you're going to sell alcohol, a woman can't show her boobs. And
right.
so...
Oh, my God.
But then it got out, so I was like, whatever. It got,
right. Other people broke it,
Yeah.
and they weren't in trouble, were they?
No. I think the Improv was just being corporate.
Yeah.
But they were being... Rita's very nice, but it was annoying to me that... I mean, people would obviously rather see my boobs than Bert's. It's like, it was just annoying to me that there's always these double standards.
Right. And
But
it is
Bert
predicated.
loved it. He was really cool about it.
It's predicated on the fact that like boobs are too exciting.
That men are too horny.
Yeah.
Men are so horny
Yeah.
that they're just going to like...
It's literally like unsafe.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
commit rape, I guess,
Yeah.
if a woman has her shirt off.
Unless they knew going in there's going to be boobs in here. It's like there really is something like you have to warn them.
It's not fair to not warn the gentleman.
Well, it's like when you're in line to Space Mountain, there's a lot of like you hear the ride, you hear the screams. There's a lot of like prep.
Right.
You can't just open a door and be on Space Mountain.
Exactly.
There's a long line. The line is part of it.
So I did that. But then it was on Mad Magazine. I don't know if you saw, but
No.
like it was like a caricature of it was on Mad Magazine on the cover, and I was like, oh, that's
On the cover?
yes,
You-
Pete.
You made the cover of Mad Magazine?
I just thought, and then I did Bert's podcast and brought it to him. He thought it was so cool, but
Wow.
But yeah, I think like sometimes you get into these like states of lucidity where you're just like this. Because if I had been like had a couple glasses of wine, I probably would not have done that because I would have not trusted my judgment.
Right.
But I was like, wait, I should just do it too. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny looking up at Steve Martin. I think he really influenced me. Like when you read his book, remember? He was like, I would just get the whole comedy club to get up and go to the bar across the street with me.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
it was always like, and I used to open for Tig,
Happenings.
and there was it was just always like, what could we do? Comedy doesn't necessarily just have to be this mic stand and I'm talking, and
Right.
there's like an openness that could happen.
Right.
It's fun and a physicality and I don't know.
And a wildness.
And a wildness.
Yeah.
And so I think like always trying to look for those moments or reminding yourself that that's part of it too.
Totally.
This episode is also brought to us by our friends at Brain FM, one of our newest Pete's Picks. And guys, trust me, run. Do not walk to this one. Brain FM has been a huge part of my daily creative routine and a secret weapon for years now, and I'm so happy to be partnering with them. Every morning when I sit down at my computer, I throw on my headphones, hit focus on Brain FM, and it plays the perfect creative flow, lo-fi music that, boom, drops me into the pocket, ready to work, create, and focus. Without it, I find it so much harder to complete tasks. I'm talking about procrastination, I'm talking about meeting deadlines, but with Brain FM playing a specifically scientifically developed and designed style of music helps me signal to my brain, literally signaling to my brain that it is time to get things done. It works. On the surface, Brain FM seems like an app that just gives you the perfect background music for creative work, study, reading, meditation, relaxation, and sleep. And that is true. It's incredible music to work or read or meditate to. But under the surface, it's so much more than that. Brain FM's composers work hard to create amazing sounding music that doesn't distract and uses their patented audio technology to boost your mental state
states on demand. Their scientists and composers add patterns to their music that change the patterns in your brain, creating increased blood flow and electrical activity in the brain and increasing focus in as little as 5 minutes. And I am here to tell you, I swear by it, I absolutely notice the difference. Regular music is designed to be distracting, so you're constantly interrupting, having to skip songs that are pulling you out of the flow. Not with Brain FM. Stop the skipping. Brain FM has a wide variety of sounds and genres, from natural soundscapes to lo-fi electronic music, to get you in that zone without any of that distraction. And it's not made by computers. It's made by multi-instrumentalist composers. Human-made. That way the soundscapes on Brain FM still have the warmth of real people. So go to brain.fm/weird to get 30% off 1 year of Brain FM. A whole year, 30% off, and start getting more done with less effort and unlock your best self on demand. Experience the difference that the right music can make in your life. Brain.fm/weird, 30% off. Support your brain, support the show. Speaking of supporting your brain, we're also brought to us by our friends at Magic Mind. You guys know I am obsessed with Magic Mind. I'm always offering it to our guests. Why? Because it's like Creatorade. Athletes have Gatorade, creators have Creatorade. It drops you into a flow state where you can create, where you can engage, and where you can focus with a mix of 12 functional ingredients, including matcha, nootropics, and that help you focus, and adaptogens that help you fight off stress. So the caffeine in the matcha, the green tea, helps you go up, and the adaptogens help you calm down. So you're right there in the fillet, in the middle, right where you want to be, and the nootropics help you focus. So don't expect wired, expect dialed in. You get 30% more done on average. That's 5 to 7 hours of 30% more productivity after drinking. I'm recording this on the road. When I travel, I have my little to-go baggie stuffed with Magic Minds because I never go on stage without it. I never write without it. I've never done an episode in years of this podcast without it. Fight off procrastination, brain fog, fatigue, and some ADD symptoms and get into that flow state. They have a money-back guarantee, and I have a special offer for listeners from our friends at Magic Mind. Just go to magicmind.co/weird and use discount code WEIRD at checkout to get 20% off your first order. That's magicmind.co/weird. Use promo code WEIRD. Support your brain, support this show. All right, back to the show. We were just talking about that, like, we were sitting down at the dinner table. One of the ways we get Leela to sit at the table is to play a game. I don't know if
What is it? Tell me.
What game?
Is it Rosebud Thorn?
Rosebud what?
Oh, Rosebud Thorn.
Is that the game that's all about social structures in preschool?
No. No, that's just where you say your favorite thing that happened, your least favorite thing, and then the thing you're looking forward to.
No,
to try to get a social child.
We play lots of different games.
Okay.
I don't remember which one this was, but it had a deck of cards and we were shuffling the cards. And she was like, "Why are you shuffling the cards?" And I was like, "Oh, because you want them to be random." And she's like, "Yeah, but they'll be random from the last time we played," which is true. It's the kind of game where you just describe. It's not like poker. If you didn't shuffle a poker deck, it would be bad. And I was like, that's true. But isn't it weird that in this day and age, we still like want to invoke the gods of chaos? This sounds like a Duncan point, but it's true. You want to I want them to be freshly shuffled because we're asking this moment to incant into the deck and be random. How were they shuffled now? How are the fates smiling on us
agree with that.
now? And there's I swear to God, I'm not forcing this. There's something about you going you almost wake up. You said lucid. You're like, wait, we can do whatever we want. And I think people might be surprised to hear. I didn't for a second think you were drunk or making a hasty decision, but it's really interesting that maybe an average non-comedian person might be like, well, she was probably having some drinks and feeling herself and decided to go wild, but it was the opposite. It was calculated
the opposite.
And an owning of how random and how fun it can be to be shuffled.
Yeah, that's cool. And I also texted Moshe first and I said, would you be annoyed if I did this?
Nice use of the word annoyed. You know what I mean?
I didn't
not
know
upset. I think that's the right word.
And he was like, no, you should totally do it,
Nice.
Because I was texting, thinking about it, but I didn't tell anyone. Because I was like, it won't be, if I tell someone, they might talk me out of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to just go on your own instincts. But yeah, I think you're right. Just being shuffled in the right way. That's a good analogy. You're good at analogies.
I'm glad.
Duncan was great. He's great at analogies too. Like just being able to explain life in these like sort of
feedback sort of ways.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm grateful to have that kind of brain as well. So I appreciate that because I sort of was like, did that work? So I really appreciate that you were like.
Now I'm gonna always think of myself as a horse with a feeding trough on when I go into the bathroom to like. I did take Instagram off my phone, so I'll look at it on my computer. By the way, my mood's not any better since I'm off social media.
Isn't that a bummer?
Yeah, I just feel a little like less like relevant or something, or like I'm out of it. Like I don't know what things are, but then I find out what they are, and I'm like, I would have liked to not know this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I forget who it was. It might have been Mike Racine, but somebody was like, "You ever get off social media and feel better?" And I was like, "That's all you need to really know." But I don't think it doesn't fix anything. You know, like they say, when you stop drinking, you'll feel better, and they're like, you'll feel angry better, you'll feel sad better, you'll feel anxious better. I think there's something similar going on. So one of the you're I don't know where you are, but we live in Ojai, and one of the weird things about being in Ojai is. It's like paradise. And sometimes I'll be walking around and I'll be like really anxious and afraid and like have dread or feel depressed or whatever it is. And you're like, fuck. Similar to getting off social media. You're like, but I got off the thing. It doesn't fix everything.
Even
It's
though
just
you
not
look
making
around
anything
and just
worse.
see so much beauty.
Well, that's what I mean. When I lived in Manhattan, you'd walk out the door and you're like, of course I'm anxious and depressed and afraid. And you, in a good way. And you could kind of project it out and be like, that guy's eating a pigeon. And over here's a 5-star restaurant. You'd see all of the feelings of humanity and you could kind of put yourself wherever you saw fit. But when you live in the Shire, and that's how I think of Ojai, it just looks like Tolkien's The Shire. And there's literally like a glorious sunrise and you're next to an orange tree. And you're like, like, it really makes you aware of just how much of everything is inside.
And also, it's like, it does get you more into a bubble.
Living up there?
Well, just like always being in, I don't know. I find I'm drawn to nature, but then it is kind of like.
You think it's isolating?
Locusty. You know, like it's all of a sudden, it's like, wait, why is everything perfect? I don't know. Like maybe we're meant to like.
I know what you mean.
Be on that terrible street by the bus stop.
Yeah.
Where
I think, well, we like certainly having both. I mean, I'm certainly in LA enough to see the bus stop.
Do you take the bus?
I'm seeing a lot of bus stops. I'm not taking the bus, but I'm seeing a lot of bus stops.
When we flew
which
back,
is what we're talking about.
Yes. When we flew back from, Moshe's, he's in charge of, when we travel, he's in charge of the flights and I'm in charge of the hotels. So he gets us, Ryanair, Group 9, whatever's like the absolute
Really
cheapest flights. And the food was inedible.
Ryanair. I've never even heard of Ryanair.
Could not eat the food. And, these are like some 12-hour flights. So it was like really bad. And then my daughter looked up and she was like, no, it was like zone 9. Yeah. And then sometimes he does this thing where he only upgrades one of us. So then like there's got to be some dance played at the airport where it's like, well, she's with a child. So I've got to save the seat. So I'll go in with the child and then I'll save the row and then we'll have to ask someone to switch. Like, it's just like annoying, okay? Whoa. And air travel's gotten much worse because now they don't even let you like bring a carry-on unless you pay extra. So there's like all this stuff that he's
on
doing.
Ryanair.
On Ryanair. No, this is actually on many airlines.
I'm going to tell you, United and Delta, you can have a carry-on.
You can't.
Yes,
you
you
have
can.
to pay more. You have to pay more.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You do not.
It's a brand new thing. I'm telling you.
Started yesterday?
It started recently. Everyone, that's what
After
I mean.
you had the first podcast?
Pete, I'm going to send you the date that I have my podcast and you tell me how many podcasts were before it.
I'm ready to be humiliated.
There was an article written about the podcast in Spin Magazine. I believe it was like 2006 or something. I'm going to send it to you. Maybe Jimmy Pardo. But every single person has one now. I'm just saying.
No, you're valid. I'm wrong, but it's fun. It's a fun dynamic to be wrong with you.
Okay, so
I do think you can have a carry-on on a bed.
No,
you have to.
They're coming. I don't know if you know this because you definitely have a very positive worldview, but the airlines are part of late-stage capitalism that is trying to make as much money as they possibly can. Do you know what I mean? Like people are just like once one airline figures out that you don't have to like let people do that for free, then everybody does it.
Can you Google it, Katie?
No,
I'm flying on Wednesday.
You're a big guy, so you probably pay to upgrade, like on business or something. You fly coach.
It's funny because I've been doing a bit about this, where work is dried up in LA, and I was like, well, I'm going to start saving money. And the first thing I started doing was flying coach. And the joke is, when I saw that I was zone 4, I literally went like this. Like, I was like aghast. I was like, is that even the same plane?
Well, now if you paid to upgrade, but you can pay to be zone 1 in coach.
No, I know.
Okay.
But also, I fly United enough that I'm in the 1K, so it doesn't matter what zone I am.
Okay.
So I'll especially fly coach United because then you're on. But I also just have a backpack, and it goes under the seat in front of me because I'm just going for a weekend.
Well, my daughter...
For a weekend.
My daughter, unfortunately, has flown first class before because someone paid for it. So someone paid for me to go to England for something, so I took her. So she knows what that's like. So she was like, why can't we sit in the front of the plane? Why can't we sit? I was like, well, that's first class. She's like, well, can I sit? Can I pay for it? And I'm like, no, you don't make enough money. She's like, well, Mom, I have an idea. What if we split it? Like, I can do my chores. And I was like, no, it's extremely expensive.
She thinks it's like $40.
Yeah. And then she goes, this is dumb class.
Wow.
Coach. She called it dumb class, but it kind of is.
Well, I've been unpacking it a lot.
Zone 9.
It's the most in-your-face way that you see how we live in a commercialized, a capitalistic nightmare, where it's like you need to be in that, and having flown first class a bunch, you start to believe that you are a special person. Yeah. Well, they go out of their way. Look, I am playing a victim card, but they go out of their way to be like, hello, Mr. Holmes. Yes, thank you. Here, my part of the joke is no one wants a hot towel. It's just a way to make us do something that they're not doing. Mm-hmm. It's the same orange juice. It's the same Diet Coke.
No, it's not. The food is definitely better in first class.
I'm not eating on a plane, no matter what
that's
thing
smart.
I'm on. Go ahead.
It says that most airlines don't charge for carry-on bags, so basic economy ticket holders may be limited to a personal item. So like JetBlue and United, if you have basic economy, you only get like under the seat.
Thank you. And he always gets the cheapest ticket.
What I hear about that, so this is how my brain works. I go, it's nice that they offer something called basic economy, which is a cheaper ticket for people who don't have.
But it's supposed.
Yeah,
but that's
if you want overhead, buy that economy.
Okay, but if you're gonna,
what am I, the CEO of United? I'm like defending them.
But if you're flying coach, don't you want? It's all sucks. Why not just get the cheapest ticket? Why pay $300 more for a coach ticket to bring on a bag? That's all I'm saying. But anyway,
yeah, why not get the cheapest one and then check your bag?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I hate checking bags. But I do like nice hotels, so I just kind of let Moshe book our
That's
flights.
The other one. I've started going into like more basic hotels, and there was a deprogramming, and I was like, sorry if I've said this on the pod before. It's been on my mind a lot. I was like, just like any drug, there's like a detox. I was like in a Holiday Inn Express, and I was like, like the shower. It's just the shower sucks, and the bed isn't as comfortable, and the sheets suck, and the smell. I added the smell for comedy, but it's at the end of the day, everything nice is just the normal thing. It's just like a few clicks nicer, but for those few clicks nicer, they charge a lot of money, and that's fine. But where it gets sticky is they start making you go, you're a Four Seasons person. And that's what all of that, like loyalty programs and the credit cards and the first class. And you
I'm
really
definitely not a Four Seasons person. I like boutique. I like smaller places.
Okay, you just bought the same thing from a different person.
That's true. Four Seasons, though. So you think that's part of it? So you need to actually get over the idea.
It took a few hotels, but I finally was just like, because
you got humiliated by a Courtyard breakfast.
Absolutely. And as I always say, humiliate and humble is from the same HU root, and human as well, and it means low. And I was getting too and I didn't, here's what it was, as a slowly boiling frog, I didn't realize that I was starting to believe the hype. And as a spiritual person, I was like, I go on these nice vacations, but I'm like nicer than everybody. I thought that like evened it out. And it turns out like, no, you gotta go to the bus stop.
Okay, what about this though? I find myself to be a spiritually fluid person. And I think about spiritual things a lot, but I'm also extremely aesthetic, and I want to be in a nice hotel. And I'm not willing to compromise.
What was that last one that really threw me? I was so ready to defend you. And you're like, and I'm not willing to compromise. I was like, I don't know about that.
But I mean, it's just like, it helps me feel. I think I have childhood trauma.
I'm gonna talk out the other side of my mouth.
It helps my trauma.
Can you hit it right here? Because I'm doing trauma work too, and I was like, it made me understand why it was so uncomfortable for me to stay at a Holiday Inn Express, even though for years I had been doing that. It's because somewhere, like you, and I'm going to put this back to you, I got the message that like, oh, what I wasn't getting as a child, for lack of, people were trying their best, but like what I wasn't getting was like a feeling of pampered, like safe, pampered, acknowledged.
Right.
And first class and nice hotels are just like, hello, Miss Leggero, we have your room ready. I know check-in's not till 4, but I went ahead and had the cleaning staff clean. And it's just, and you just go like, I'm being healed from my trauma. I'm not kidding you. That's
so
what it all is. That's what it all is.
No,
you're trying to show yourself that you got yourself. Like you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah. And like when I was saying goodbye on the plane, we were in when I went with my kid, the first leg, we were in the front row of economy. So the stewardess was saying goodbye to the people in first class and then saying goodbye to us. And he was rude to me the whole time. Because at one point I go, excuse me, what's for dinner? And he goes, I don't know. The flight attendant.
What?
And then I asked another woman, I said, what is the dinner? And she took the tray out of like a trash thing and opened up the tinfoil to show me. And it was like someone's eaten pasta. It was disgusting. And I was like, okay, thanks.
She showed you the trash?
Yes. And then when he was saying goodbye,
she showed you the trash!
When the guy was saying goodbye, he was right by the toilets. And then, people from first class are coming in this side and I was coming in from this side. So the first class person was like, goodbye. It was such a pleasure working with you. Have a wonderful vacation. And I left and I was like, bye. And he was like, bye. Like, didn't even say goodbye to me.
It's the policy.
So you're right. It's
like probably in the handbook. Show them the trash. If coach asks, find a meal in the trash and show it to them.
It was literally in her little tray. Yeah, it was just someone's garbage tray.
If they ask you what's for dinner, say, I don't know. If trash isn't available.
Well, because I think they have to feed you on a 12-hour flight. So it's like there has to be this pomp and circumstance for the coach people.
I'm telling you.
Food.
Look, if you're paying 4X on the ticket, every person is like 4 customers. I'm not saying it's right. What's troubling is how that's what we're striving for. It's part of our cultural mythology is like, those are important people. Like, yes, sir.
Right.
Remember?
But what did they do? What did anyone do? And why do we believe it?
Yeah.
When, all right, well.
Just another movie star. First class is just the movie stars of the plane.
Not even movie stars, like old people who've been saving up their
No, I'm not
numbers.
saying they're literally movie stars. I'm saying in that microclimate, we're reality TV stars in coach. And that's Brad Pitt up there. And nobody cares that you were on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
And my daughter thinks she could pay for it with
$40.
putting away the silverware.
Troubling.
Well, it's also like, to me, the price of first class is like, it's prohibitively expensive. Like I would never spend $10,000 to fly somewhere when I could spend $700.
That's the whole thing.
I would spend $10,000
It's
in
the
another
white
way.
iPhone headphones. We're all about status. It's a Supreme hat. That the whole point it's cool is because it was $900. That's so much of our culture these days.
Well, my flight sucked.
Yeah, if I'm flying 12 hours, I'm probably gonna.
Well, you have a different situation.
What do you mean?
You're tall.
Yeah.
I don't even fit in the seats.
In the first class seat, you like your feet dangle?
No, I mean I don't fit in the coach seats barely. Like
I know.
They when they put the thing. I mean, you're almost too tall.
No, the screen just hits my face
because they recently redid. Here's my corporate. They redid many of the planes and took out 3 rows and redid them all so they could have them even closer together. So the rows are closer together than they were in history.
Yeah, the first time I flew coach after having a nice unbroken streak of first class, I was like, how am I being asked to share my armrest with this person? Like, that's just not cool. Like, it's not, I mean, I know it's totally normal. So I'm like, I'm just going to curl this way. That's how I'm going to do. And somehow they're finding new and creative ways to touch me. They will. Like, that poor middle seat, and God love them, but somehow they're elbowing me constantly. It's just not. It sucks for all of us. But
and I also think people are farting more in coach.
I think people are farting more on the whole plane.
It must be.
Now that you can order any food and have it delivered in less than an hour, and you can watch any movie, farts are no longer being held in.
You think?
That's the trend. If you can get dumplings driven to you for $3 and you can watch the first season of Cheers for free, why would you hold in a fart? That's why we got rid of Alexa. We got rid of Alexa because, and Leela noticed just yesterday, she goes, Alexa doesn't work anymore. We don't even have it. But she was looking at the speaker. She goes, why do we get rid of Alexa? And I was like, because I didn't think it was a good thing to be yelling orders to a robot.
Yeah.
And Leela would do it when she was little in this house. She'd be like, what time is it? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's also not great.
But she was also invading. Is Alexa she? Like, yeah. I remember my daughter was like, one day, because we had Alexa, and she was like, are strawberries tropical? And all of a sudden, Alexa started talking. She's like, strawberries are considered a tropical fruit. And she's like,
no one said Alexa?
No one said Alexa. She just like tried it.
Yeah.
She was like just testing the waters.
Like asking something that you know she knows. What is the population of Minneapolis?
So that was a little scary to me, but Moshe's very like in the future pro, Roomba. We've got 3 different Roombas. We've got the one that squirts the gel. We have the dry Roomba. We have Alexas in every room. He's got his Tesla. It's just like a lot of stuff talking to him. Like I'm just like
he's got a lot of friends. He's like Tony Stark.
Yeah. And, does Tony Stark have a lot of friends?
That's Iron Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know who that was.
If you did,
I also don't know about Marvel. Is that Marvel?
Yeah, it's Marvel. I would have been disappointed if you did know.
I'm not a member of the Marvel world.
You're fine.
Unless they want to hire me. I'd be someone's mom.
Isn't that great?
I know. I was like, maybe I could be Spider-Man's mom. And someone's like, yeah, that's Marissa Tomei.
When I went to your Wikipedia, you look great. You're older than I thought you were. Is that weird to say?
No.
I'm saying you look fantastic. And do you talk about your age? Is this something we're going to have to edit out?
You can talk about my age.
Okay, I didn't know.
I'm 37, that is not that old. You really think that's old? See, this is why it's so fucked up to be a woman. Is like a guy. What is so funny? What?
You know what's funny? If you were 37, I'd still be like, you look great.
Listen, it's not about age, honey.
But you did hit a benchmark.
Wait.
Are you going to make me edit this out?
No, I don't care.
You turned 50.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
What is so incredible about that?
Have you seen 50?
Everyone is
I want to
aging.
drive you to New Hampshire and show you what 50 looks like. No offense, New Hampshire. Leggero, you're killing it.
Well,
and
that's nice of you to say.
No shit. You're exactly what a Marvel. They would trip over themselves because they're always looking for someone that's a believable age to be a mom, maybe.
I don't look
but
old
looks
enough.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but my problem is I don't look old enough to play
That's true.
50.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to have to a lot of actresses talk about this, at least the old, I think Ingrid Bergman was talking about it. Because that was my algorithm for a while, was all old actors.
Okay.
Actors over 70 giving advice. But a lot of them would say for women, the ages between 50 and 70, there's not a lot of work because you're too young to be the grandma, but you're too old to be,
the girlfriend.
The woman, I don't know, but I don't really, I think it's a cool time to be a woman and I hope I can contribute in some positive way and I love doing stand-up.
I also think 50 is a great decade for stand-up.
Aren't you almost 50?
I'm 45.
Oh, yeah, that's how old Moshe is.
But I feel like you look at Burr and it's 50. It's just it's a great. You really, really know who you are. You know your voice, and and you have a lot to say. I think it's great.
Well, with women, it's a little different because we actually, there's a spike. Men just kind of go normal, with their sex drive and everything. Maybe we should edit this out. But women,
there's a spike in the sex drive?
No, there's women kind of, when you lose your estrogen eventually, maybe at 55 or 60, it's you actually become a different person. Men are kind of staying the same, but I feel like women have this second act and what could that be? It's totally different. It's different in different cultures. And I don't think people have really talked about it that much. Women haven't talked about it because all the all the doctors have been men so much in the past. And
You mean you lose all your estrogen and then your personality is just different?
I don't know. You're not wanting to please men anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So then what becomes of you when you're not trying to like push your tits up to get a guy to give you a baby?
Yeah.
You know, it's like your life becomes a little different. Like I was reading that like women in India actually like when they go through menopause because they can like, they don't have to wear their outfits and they can just smoke and play cards with the men. Like I do think that every culture has its own thing and it hasn't really been talked about that much and everyone's always afraid. And, you know, I just think that like the beginning part of it is an interesting, the menopause. I just think like a 50-year-old woman is a little different than a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
The 50-year-old man is kind of still just going on as he has always been and he's still horny and, you know, there's like 3 90-year-olds with second family, like, you know, Robert De Niro has a newborn, Al Pacino has a newborn, Mick Jagger has a newborn.
He does?
I think. I mean, all these guys, Jamie Masada has a newborn. He has like a 6-year-old or something. But, you know, men in their 70s have babies. They
just
have young children.
Another milestone that men get to kind of like breeze right through the easy pass.
Right.
And you're stopping at the toll and paying your personality.
Well, I think women, like just a lot changes. So I don't know.
No, it's true. But it's sort of like your book. Good host.
Thank you.
It is highlighting the difference. Like they say, like astrologically having a baby is a little bit like a death, like shows up as a death in a woman's chart. And like, that's why Moshe is such a funny foil in your book.
Wait, having a baby shows up as a death in my chart?
As that big of a moment. I'm not saying as a death, like the bones card comes up. It's just like the death of who you were before you were a mother, and then you become something else.
Yeah,
I feel that way, but I'm way more involved than Moshe.
Moshe's like, he's like really involved if it's like something like, you know, he's like really passionate about getting her to surf camp because he wants her to surf, so he has someone to surf with.
Sounds chill.
It's like that, but like
chill,
for me,
chill.
I'm like, you know, I'm like thinking about the lunches and making sure we have the food. Like, you know, it's hard, like making these lunches. Like I've been shamed by almost every preschool teacher. Well, he was like, let's just have her eat the school lunch, you know, because that was free, but she wasn't eating.
That was zone
9.
That was the
but
zone 9.
But it's like, you know, a fried chicken leg and macaroni and cheese and cinnamon toast crunch. And it's like nasty food. And she wasn't eating it. And then she was getting in bad moods. And, you know, the teacher's like, I think you should maybe pack your child a lunch. You know, I'm just saying it's like, it's a lot of work. Do you pack the lunch?
No, my face. Yes, of course.
You do?
Yeah, of course.
Listen, I let Moshe kind of sleep in, and then I do the morning session, and then I tell him, can you pick her up? And so he's usually good at that.
And he's like, that's when I'm going surfing anyway. So I could use a toddler bobbling in the water. We're talking so much shit about Moshe, FCC rules, we have to let him retort at the end. Which, by the way, what is the conversation with Moshe in the audiobook? When does that happen?
Well, Moshe's constantly trying to, and it's really good, actually. He's really trying to talk. And this is why I had a baby. Because I was like, I'm a situational breeder. I will breed if the situation makes sense. Because my mom did not pick a good partner for her life. And so.
Which is why we both have to stay at nice hotels.
Exactly. And why we're comedians. But Moshe's just very much about like, don't be afraid. Because I think he doesn't have the change, but somehow it happened to you. The change that took place in me was like this person who wanted to, you know, white river raft without a helmet and do anything to please my husband and be the person and people pleaser to like, and joie de vivre to like having a baby and being like horrified and scared and like, who is this person? And I think Moshe's like, this isn't the fun chick that I decided to stop doing one night stands with people for. Like, she's too scared. Like, why are you scared? And so I think it's like, you know, dealing with that. And I think for me, like I said, getting off Instagram kind of helped because I'm like, I just need to listen to my own self. Like, I don't need to listen to what, you know, Dr. Chelsea or whatever the people's names are, or, you know, says to me about how I should be talking to my kid and what I should be, you know, how I should be parenting and the things I need to do. And anyway, what I need to pack them, the bento box, lunch. Like her first preschool teacher, because I used to pack my brother's lunch, and in like a brown sack. So I remember the first day of preschool, I sent my daughter off with the little brown paper bag. And after about a week, her teacher came up to me and she was like, just so you know, all the other students, they do have something that looks like this. And it was like this silver bento box, and it literally had cut steak in it. It had like broccolini, it had cut steak, it had rice. And she's like, you know, this is whoever's lunch. You know, I'm just showing you.
You keep getting shown meals, by the way. Like stewardesses
that I can't have the nice meal.
Yeah. This is what your daughter's meal looks like.
But it did feel a little bit like
showed you the bento box.
But you know what's funny? The kids don't eat the bento box anymore. That's just us projecting. If I gave her a dumb sandwich and a bag of Doritos like my mom did, she probably wouldn't eat that. I mean, it's like they're not eating anything. So I put it in the bento box, and I think she thought that was cute at first, but then she realized I don't make good lunches, so it doesn't matter if it's in a bento box. But
we have a bento box.
Of course, that's what everybody does.
When you said that, I'm just like, it's just a plastic lunchbox.
But it's with dividers. 7 containers and like, and then we put sauce in this thing, and then it dripped everywhere. So now, and then my friend was like, well, you need to get those thin ice packs to put in it. I'm just like, I am not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not going to do that. I mean, but I will talk to her endlessly about anything, read to her. I played Legos the other day.
But look, those cucumbers are going to be sweaty. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to do that.
I'm dead. And loving it.
Hak Tui. Can I take that? Since she said Hak Tui.
You can have Hak Tui.
This is going to come out in like 2 months. She won't be famous anymore.
She never was. Come on. That stuff's gone. That stuff's gone as it's happening. New rule. If you're going to hawk to it. A new segment we're calling Hawk to It. That's all she should be, is a segment name. Like a pun based on that.
Looks like you've never done Club Random either.
Talk about random.
Have you?
No.
Don't think you're going to be asked, Pete.
Have you been on it?
No. But I did open up for Bill Maher in Hawaii.
New rule. All the islands are called Maui now. Okay.
Sean Penn called me a genius. That was nice.
When that happened?
It's like Bill Maher's big New Year's Eve party. And so all these like people like Woody Harrelson and Sean Penn, they all like party, and maybe they have houses in Maui on New Year's Eve, and they all came to the show, and Paul Simon was there. It was a cool night. So I'm grateful to Bill Maher.
After the show, Sean, don't make me the guy who's like really shitting on Maher. I'm just having some fun with one guest choice. Sean Penn said you were a genius.
I mean, it was
great.
It was like such an amazing show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not playing 4,000 seat theaters. So when you play a huge theater full of, the kind of people that you've always wanted to perform for.
Yeah, it's exciting.
People who are informed and can, I don't know. And it was just a really great show.
That's great. Sean Penn.
Stop it. Can you cut that out? I don't know why I told you that.
No.
I was just like,
I'm going to join you.
It was like an exciting night.
He came up to me once at an airport. That's a true story.
He's a fan?
He said I was a genius. He didn't say genius. He just said he was a fan.
Oh, so he likes comedy.
So you should you should feel great about it. We're not editing it out. That was fantastic. Do you really want us to?
No.
Okay, great.
But will you say that I'm 37?
I just can't believe you just hit a landmark.
Old. Your wife is like in her 20s. That's why you think this is old.
My wife is 35.
Okay, she's 35, but she looks good. She looks young, but I mean,
looks good, looks great, looks
short people look young. That's a thing.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. Tight and bright, we call it.
I don't know if I like that part.
I didn't mean a vagina, I meant the whole body. This isn't a vagina.
Oh, okay, good.
This is the whole, like, here's a person, and then we shrunk it down. Tight and bright.
Okay, I like that. I can't tell if you're trying to wrap up the podcast or if we still have an hour left.
We are wrapping up.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Good. I'm so happy we got to do it.
Me too.
I wish we hung out more.
There's still like 45 minutes, but like we're wrapping up.
I just haven't listened to your podcast in a while, so I don't know if you like go hard for like I did Whitney Cummings' podcast, and she'll
just keep going.
I was like, I have to pick up my daughter at school, and it was like 3 hours or something.
I love doing it. Whitney's listening face. Have you seen it?
No, what does she do?
Like one of the times. It seems mean. I'm not going to do it. She's got a great listening face. That's all I'm going to say.
She has a great Instagram.
What you just mean she's good game on Graham?
Whatever she's doing is captivating right now.
Yeah. I remember a lot of like when I saw her, it would be a lot of like fake. You walked in on her topless videos. It would be like, oh, and I would just be like, give.
You think everything on the internet's fake? We've already established that. You think the Italian duck lady's fake?
Definitely fake. The Italian duck lady is definitely fake, and the guy checking the LaCroix is definitely fake. And I'm going to have them on Club Random to find out. So when you fed those ducks, all right, now that 3 seconds is up, what's your take on Kamala's running mate?
Did she pick one?
Not yet.
All right.
I have a good feeling. See, maybe I am a Kringus. I'm going back to what we were talking about at the beginning.
Is that like a male Pollyanna?
Yeah.
You're a Kringus.
I'm a real Kringus.
Is that like a Kris Kringle?
I think we need to do what we can do. You should do what you can do. Vote, donate, and make behavioral changes that are positive.
But the world's not good. So I think it's weird messaging to be like everything's great.
I'm not saying everything's great. I am saying don't underestimate humanity's. All the headlines are the humanity's horrible and selfish and ripped. And you even mentioned like I'm an AI optimist. I think that's going to help us in a big way. Well, we'll see. It'll be funny if while AI is like taking my head off with a claw, they play this clip.
No, I've seen your stand-up. You're just saying this so that they'll be nice to you.
I had that bit. I stopped doing that joke.
And now you dropped the bit.
And now you're just,
it's become your personality. You're like, I love AI. Alexa's cool.
Alexa's one of my best
They're
friends.
Gonna be
Me and Moshe hang out with Alexa, Siri, Siri Cruz. No, we don't use Siri.
You don't hear about Siri Cruz too much. I hope she's, I bet she's like a painter somewhere.
No.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Fucked up
Michael
parents.
Jackson's daughter was at a show I did at Largo.
Blanket?
I think it might have been Blanket.
Cool name. It is. I mean, it's cool.
Is it?
It's cooler than Jenny. Yeah, Blanket. I mean, you're going to be remembered. I like her. I don't know anything about her.
I have a hard time with names that seem to be a little bit more about the person naming the baby.
You must have a hard time in Ojai then.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there was someone in my daughter's school called Lulu Rainbow.
Hilarious.
There is, who's one of the people right now? She's at a Waldorf camp, and there's someone named, fuck. Wait, hold on.
P. Diddy? Sean P. Diddy Combs?
Raslin.
Raslin. That's horrible.
But it's very like Middle Earth or something.
I love it. I love it, and it's horrible. It can be both.
Right, but yeah, the names are interesting.
Well, what I did before, like a week before he was caught. I don't know the update on P. Diddy, but we did.
I also don't know about this story.
Yeah, we did Kimmel the same time, and he was on, and he was talking about how he named his kid Sean Love Sean Combs. Like the kid's name isn't a sentence saying that he loves Sean Combs. I was like, that's when the names are like about the parent. I feel the same way about my own brother. My brother's named John. My dad's name is John. I'm like, that's about my dad being like, ah. Like that's a weird tradition for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, didn't I pick my daughter's name and didn't I think it was cool? We can't get out of this game. That's just what we're doing.
I think if you want to be a president or a celebrity, you kind of have to have narcissistic personality disorder.
Or at least touches of it.
Yeah.
Narcissistic personality disorder is like very, I don't know, extreme. But narcissistic tendencies are very helpful in the public eye.
You know what I think you need, actually? I thought of this, and this was one of my realizations when I was, when I went through my little sobriety, like, I don't drink that much, but I like to have a glass of wine every night or whatever. But when I was in my sobriety phase, I was like, oh, I need to be like a 1% monster. I need to be a little more monster to like get more stuff done, And then I went on a little rampage about it, and everyone who was slacking, like in my world, and I made phone calls with the people who I knew wouldn't respond in the same way to an email, and I just kind of like was kind of a bit, like kind of a dick or whatever it is. Like
you went big.
But it was because things weren't being done right, and they were said they were going to be done right, and it really worked. But then I forgot about it. So I think like just trying to incorporate, I'm not naturally like that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to incorporate a little bit more of that, but
I know exactly what you mean. You have to have that gear.
like just a
I
few
think,
percentage points.
Yeah. Just
Some
a
people
smidge.
have too much. They need to get rid of some of it
Just
for
a
sure.
sprinkle. Just a
Just
sprinkle.
a sprinkle of Monster.
That's right. That's the campaign.
Just a little.
Just a sprinkle. Have you ever seen a ghost? That'll be your final question. You seem like someone who hasn't seen a ghost.
Well, Moshe and I get into fights about this all the time. Because, like, okay, I lived with Duncan Trussell, and he was like all the time, like, there's elves, there's ghosts. The ghost told me to get out of the house.
Portal is open!
He was just like, there was always something, like, and it felt very real, and then like he's like, yeah, and then his brother came over once, and he was like, yeah, I saw two guys from the 1930s, like just in your room, and I'm like, wood paneled room always makes people think that there's ghosts there too, though I've noticed. So like that, and the room happened to be wood paneled, so a few people told me they felt ghosts in there. But anyway, Moshe like doesn't believe in astrology, doesn't believe in ghosts, doesn't believe in angels, doesn't believe in tarot, he doesn't believe in any. He's like a scientific realist. I don't know, it's called something.
Materialist.
Scientific materialist, yes. Which is a little upsetting, but like, I think that he would be open if he saw it. He wouldn't be like, I didn't see that. But like, so he's very much out. So I like to say that I'm somewhere in the middle, but I did go to dinner recently with Moshe's family, and his dad is a scientist, like a bug scientist, an entomologist. And it was like his birthday, and we all went around the room. I don't know why we did this, but decided to say what percentage we believe in astrology. And I went first, and I said 51%. And then everyone else at the table was 0.
That is so good.
So I felt like...
That is so funny.
So that is kind of...
Even the guy that suggested the game knew he was going to be 0.
I was talking... I don't know why, but like we were talking about... I think because we had just gotten back from Taiwan, and we were talking about like the different types of astrology. And,
yeah.
So anyway, have I ever seen a ghost? No, but I did have an out-of-body experience once.
What's that? What happened?
This one was pretty cool. Actually, I don't really know if I want to say it on a podcast. But I will tell you what happened, but I probably won't tell you the message.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Because it was like, name your daughter.
Well, I've also done ayahuasca, so but that wasn't a ghost. That was more other things. And actually, I did see elves when Duncan told me, because like we were doing like Molly, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that when
you saw
see
an
the
elf?
elves? I saw them. They were working really hard.
DMT is usually the elf.
It wasn't DMT, but I don't know. That happened. But an elf, that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about a ghost. I haven't seen a ghost.
But you did see an elf.
I did see an elf.
On drugs.
On drugs. Yeah, when I was sober, though, not on drugs, I once had a lucid dream where I like jumped up from it was like my boyfriend's bed. I was like in Chicago, probably like 18, and I jumped up to the ceiling, and I was all of a sudden awake, and I was in the clouds, and I looked down and saw myself, and they kept telling me like, keep jumping, you'll get the message. So I kept jumping higher and higher, and then I got this like very short, succinct message, which maybe I'll tell you afterwards. I'm just afraid to say it publicly.
That's fine. You want to keep it special.
Yeah, but then
buy Bitcoin.
and it honestly has always eluded me. It's a very cryptic message, and I don't really know why it's there, and I can't say it's helped me that much, but it was definitely the only time something like that happened, where I was like awake, but I think lucid dreams are quite common. You can like teach yourself to do that.
Yeah.
I've never done that. It just sort of happened. But I'd like
Really
to see
cool.
a ghost or an angel. And I'm actually reading this book right now by Sebastian Unger.
Maniscalco?
Huh? No.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
No, not by Sebastian. Has he read a book? But it's all about this. He had an auto. He died, and then he had like some kind of health thing where he was on the operating room dying, and then his dad came back and was pulling him this way, and then he was still alive, seeing his dad pull him, and then he wrote a whole book about the experience and was like, wow, this experience is so much like what so many people have said. And so it was really fascinating, because you're like, wow, maybe this is what happens. Like there is this world where there's like people are able to kind of be around, but then also,
Wow.
and then in another book I just read, was saying that his sister came back who had died. So and then he felt her there. So I'm open to that.
I wish you were at a dinner and Moshe's what relation? Dad? Would be like,
his
what
stepdad.
percentage do we
Maybe
believe?
it was to be honest, it was probably my idea. Because I was probably talking and no one was responding.
0%. Even Moshe?
Moshe, he doesn't even know what his sign is. Have you ever seen a ghost?
People do this sometimes, and it's the same old. My ghost of my cat jumps on my bed every time I go home to Boston. It's reliable and very crazy.
Wait, that's true? Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Wait. You open the door and then you see scratch marks?
That would be better. Like a lot of these things, it's in the morning and I'm awake and I just wait for it. I wake up first and then I go any second now. And then the cat, big fat cat, jumps up on the bed, curls up by my legs reliably. I don't sleep in that room anymore because boundaries. I'm like, no, I'm not staying in my parents' house. But when I used to, every single time. And I would wake up and I would wait for it. I'm like, any second. And it would happen every time. It's crazy.
Wow, that's cool. And just to finalize my answer, I do believe when talking about Duncan, there's a reason why I mentioned him. I just think that some people... It makes no sense to me to be a spiritual materialist because it's so obvious that some people have talents, like intuition is a talent. And I think that if you're like receptivity, if you're a very receptive person or open in some way based on something that happened to you, like in the same way you can like tell if some people can tell if someone's not feeling well and some people can't. They're too self-involved. I'm not saying you're too self-involved if you don't believe in ghosts, but I just feel like some people are just more
sensitive,
open to
more
that realm.
sensitive instrument.
It's so obvious that that is what it is, and that the people who aren't feeling it, they're not sensitive to it.
Well, that was going back finally to what we were talking about, the varying sensitivities to like world happenings. I think everybody belongs. I think we need me, and I think we need whistleblowers, and I think we need people that are really freaking out, and I think we need everything in between.
You think we need school shooters? The World Deserves My Children is out now. Don't buy it on Amazon. You can listen to me read it.
Yeah,
that's what I suggest.
Great performance.
But also, reading the book is great. It says here, deeply, darkly funny. Ali Wong said that about my book.
Oh, wow.
Chelsea Handler said something. But she
Did
doesn't
you
really
write any of those blurbs for the people?
That's a great question.
I'm not ashamed. I wrote.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I wrote some of the blurbs on my book.
But I
That's
think
how it goes. Then you send it to them and they approve it. Because some of them are just too busy.
When someone asks me to
Ram
write...
Dass was 88 years old.
He wrote a blurb for you?
Well, I wrote it, and then he approved it. I'm not going to bother...
Did he make any tweaks?
No tweaks. He said it was perfect. I wrote it in his voice. I know his voice.
What is it?
I can't remember.
That's cool.
But it was the path from being somebody to living spirit or something. I can't remember.
I got to meet Ram Dass when I went to the retreat, and
I think we talked about this last time you were in.
He like was spilling soup all over him. I felt bad.
No, stop.
We ate because I ate with him, and I was like, wow, it's like.
There he is.
There he is. Like, because he has like a
Yeah. Don't do the shake.
Well, I'm just saying.
Don't do the shake.
That's why the soup spilled. But you could tell he was just like, ugh, the soup spilling again. You know, like.
Talk about the humblings.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I talk about not wanting to stay at a Courtyard Marriott. How about not being able to walk?
Well, that's.
Or speak, without a delay or whatever it is. Like.
That's exactly right.
That is big.
That's why accepting the humblings, whatever they may be, in my life it might be a Courtyard Marriott, but whatever they are, is just a rehearsal for going with grace. Let's get out of here. The book is called Dear World.
No, it's called The World Deserves My Children.
Please find my children. P.S. You're welcome. Love, Ali Wong. With a quote from Natasha Leggero.
Written by Jesse Klein.
Written by, if you read one book, Jesse Klein. If you need to.
Include mine.
No, it's fantastic. Check it out. Natasha, you're always a delight. Thank you for being so wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Congrats on the book.
Thank you.
Would you say keep it crispy? It's how we end.
I won't, actually. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
Keep it crispy.
And then she did it.
You made it weird. You made it weird.